Well, it's a nice weekend here in April. No wind, a beautiful evening, nice cool evening. I got my rocket stove. It's just now the fire's dying down in that. I like to have a little fire. It's very soothing for the soul to have that. And that rocket stove is a blessing for anybody that owns one. They'll tell you that themselves. But you're here for a story. Okay. Well, it's springtime, and springtime means that there is some gardening going on out there. And so what I try to do is open up their mind, open up the box, and get them to thinking outside the box, and maybe help themselves some. One of the things is to understand that guns are very hard to get, ammunition is staggeringly expensive, and will only get worse, but why not grow your own chemical weapons? Why not grow your own chemical weapons? To give you an example, right now in the store, tear gas will cost you about $10 for a tube of tear gas that would have about 1 ounce of tear gas in it. I said about an ounce for $10. Okay? One plant, I've got little pepper plants in here, red hot pepper plants, if you can see them in this real light or low light. Each one of those pepper plants, when planted and grows on out through this year, and you can grow them in a pot. Even if you're in an apartment, you can grow peppers. You can put your soil in here. You can get a good used pot for $1, maybe $2 at a yard sale or at a secondhand store. Take a plastic bag and wrap around it, and whatever color you so desire, but it will then retain it. And I've had some of my garden planters for 20 years. Otherwise, they usually break down within 5 years. But if you put a plastic bag over them, keeping the sun from getting to them, you'll find they'll last an astronomically longer time. That's money in your pocket and a better product all the way around. With the soil in there, a little bit of fertilizer in there, put some salt in there, and for a pepper, stick a couple of matches in there too. I said matches. And 1 aspirin ground up in there. Sure doesn't hurt anything. With that in mind, once it grows up, you can expect about 50, I said 50, red hot peppers from a plant on a good year. And one of the ways I like to water is with a gallon jug setting next to the plant. Put a pinhole in it, let it bleed out ever so slowly. About every other day, fill it and let it drill out. I would say when they're small, 1/4 of a gallon works plenty well. On up to when they're full size, 1/2 gallon of water every other day sure doesn't hurt anything, depending on the heat that you have and whether you rain or what have you. But the pepper will produce massively. Now, once you have those peppers, 50 peppers, it takes 5 peppers to grind them down and put them in a 1-gallon container to have the sun heat it and cook it for about 5 days. I said 5 hot sun days. Now you've got something. Strain out the pepper out of that, and that water is liquid fire. I said liquid fire. Then put a little bit of dish soap in it, so whatever it hits, it sticks to it. And then you can put dye in it, like food dye in it, so that if you've had to defend yourself against a man or beast, that man or beast is marked with dye, so that the cops can say, okay, you know, where'd that dye come from if you didn't do it or attack them? With that in mind, these are things you can do. Now that gallon is 128 ounces. So you figure each ounce commercially is $10, as I told you. That makes that gallon worth $1,280. I said $1,280. Now that's a pretty good return on your money, theoretically. And if you did it to the 10 gallons, it automatically goes to $12,800 from one plant. Not even marijuana makes that kind of money when it's on the illegal trade side. So rather than to break the laws of man and get into the drug trade or whatever, start looking outside the box in other areas. And one of them is defense. Could you start your own chemical weapons lab and start your own chemical weapons business and corporation, perhaps, if it got big enough? Make your own stuff and learn how to do it. There's lots of information on the internet how to produce and make your own pepper sprays, and I'll let them tell you how they like to do it best. But this is just McCook's Mr. Bill telling you it's worth gardening, whether you're growing food, whether you're growing medicine, or whether you're growing chemical weapons. Rate this film. Here's one of my favorite kind of hose for gardening that I like. It's kind of a diamond shaped, if you will, heavy built, one of Bill Sankey hose, if you will. An excellent looking tool if we can get it up there to be seen. I'll tell you what, he built quality stuff in his lifetime. It'll last for generations if taken care of.